Hello and welcome to the 14th episode of the Practical PM, your friend, philosopher and guide to product management. This episode is called Tech for PMs. In this, we will discuss some basic concepts of technical development that product managers are better off knowing. If you have a background in coding, you can skip this episode. This, however, is not a CS 101 course either. It will not focus on the fundamentals of computer science or programming. Instead, this will focus exclusively on the software engineering concepts that play a role in a product manager's decision making. Let us start by understanding the basic building blocks of a code. What does it consist of? Fundamentally, any software product consists of two things. One is the database and second is the code. Why do you see so many different bubbles for the code? We will come to that. A database is where all of product's data is stored and code acts on this data. It either reads and presents it or adds, deletes and makes changes to it. In most cases, database is of a kind that is called relational database, and it can be thought of in terms of a collection of tables containing information. So, a simplified e-commerce database would look something like this. It will have a table for product, it will have a table for order, it will have a table that maps products to various categories. You can also imagine a separate table that contains category information and yet another table that contains customer information. In the product table, each column will represent one piece of information about a product and each row will be one specific product. So what kind of columns can we expect? We can expect a column called product ID, which will be a unique ID for one specific product, product name, product price and any other information about the product you can think of. For example, description of the product, the manufacturer of the product, warranties, etc. Similarly, you can imagine a separate category table which will have a category ID for each category, the name of the category, and if categories are hierarchical, that is there are categories and subcategories and sub-subcategories and so on, then it will also have the information of where in the hierarchy this category belongs. Now each product can belong to different categories, so we have a separate product category mapping table where at least one column will be a product ID and one column will be a category ID. Since one product can belong to multiple categories, it may be present in multiple rows. So you can imagine P1C1, P1C2, P2C3 and so on. Here I have also included another column called primary. If a product is supposed to belong to one primary category, then this mapping can also store the information about whether P1C1 is primary or P1C2 is primary. Then there is order table. Every time an order is placed, a row is added here. It will have order ID, which product is in the order, represented by product ID, which customer has placed an order, represented by customer ID, and other information about the order, for example, order total, order shipping address, etc. You can imagine another table for customer where there will be customer ID and whatever information we have stored about the customer. So this is what the database of a simple e-commerce product can look like. Then you will have code for different features. For example, one simple feature is displaying the product page. So you will have a piece of code that reads the product table for all the product information, that also reads the product category mapping table to fetch all the categories for the product. Then it takes all this information and displays it on the product page according to the design that has been coded. Practically though, it will not be one big piece of code. It will be many smaller pieces of code. At the very least, there will be a piece of code which, when given a product ID, talks to the product table and gets the product information. It also talks to the product category table and fetches all the categories. Then it will pass on this product information to another piece of code which will take all of this information and then display it on the product page according to the design. These different pieces of code will talk to each other to give the ultimate product experience of displaying the correct information about a product on the page in a given design. Why would you want different pieces of code doing different things? One of the simplest reason is that it helps you avoid doing the same thing over and over again in the code. For example, apart from the product page, there is also an order details page that needs to show some information about the product that was there in the order. Now, if there was one big piece of code that got the product info as well as displayed the product information, then the piece of code that had to display the order information will have to do the job of getting the product information all over again. Instead, you can have the smaller piece of code that gets the product info, and these two different smaller pieces of codes that just use this piece of code to get the product info and display in their respective pages. So this task did not have to be done again in the code. This type of code, where the functionalities of the product are broken down into smaller pieces of code instead of one big blob doing everything, is called modular code. And the advantages of it should be clear by now. It helps ensure that you're not doing the same work over and over again in the code. Another advantage is that it helps in changing and maintaining the code easily in long run. For example, suppose something has to change in how product information is obtained. Let us assume that a new tax law has come into effect, and hence now the product table also needs to have a mapping to the specific tax that is applicable to each individual product. And maybe there is a new tax table which keeps information about different levels of taxes applicable. So this piece of code that gets product information now has to deal with these changes in the database. If the code was not modular and product information page as well as order display page, all of them were getting the product information directly from databases, then this code will need to be changed at all of these places. So if there are 10 places where product information is being displayed, 10 different pieces of code will need to be changed. Whereas in this case, since there is only one place where we are getting the product information, we can manage with the change in only one place. Knowing the architecture of the product helps you estimate how much effort will go into a change that you need in the product. There is one more thing apart from the structure of the modules that you need to understand to estimate the efforts correctly, and that is the internal design of each of these modules. So let's stick to our example where in the product now a different kind of tax information is there. So this code will return the information that was already present as well as the new tax information now to each of the different pieces of code which is calling it to get the product information. Now suppose it is only the product information display that needs to use this new tax information, and on the order display page, let's suppose you don't need to separately display the tax information. So in an ideal world, you will only do a major change here and a small change in the code displaying the product information on product page, and the order display page code should remain untouched. However, that is reliant on the assumption that the way this code is written is future proof against new information coming into product information. So now that even this module is using the same module to get product information, it will also get the tax information. Is the code designed in such a way that any new information that comes which it does not need, it disregards, or it has not been handled, and when a new piece of information comes which it does not know how to handle, it will crash? Ideally, the second case should not happen. It should know to discard the new piece of information, in which case your effort will be less. However, if this is not designed properly, that means the advantage of the modular code will not be realized fully, and you will have to do minor changes here also. So this is modular code. What each of the different modules do and how they interact with each other and the database is what is called code architecture. And how the code in each of the modules is written and organized and how does it handle different cases is called code design. When you understand the architecture and the design, you have a better handle on the tech aspects of your product. That is all for this episode. In the next episode, we will continue the theme of tech for PMs, and we will talk about how different parts of codes and even different products talk to each other, which will lead us into the realms of APIs, webhooks, and other things. So do tune in. Thank you so much for watching.